with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out smackdowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space, now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats.
WWE has always been my home and will always be my home.
Sorry. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Nope. That first part was wrong.
Yeah. I don't know what the fuck that happened, but this is not wrong. And this was an excellent theme for him back in the TNA Impact days. But a lot of mixed reactions to the big surprise being Christian. And not like Kurt Angle or some other big name, which we'll get into. I think we're going to start a little differently this week because of the events that have been taking place. We're going to start off with a little AEW Dynamite and then go into the pay-per-view because there are some things I want to touch on, and then we can touch on a little Raw, Fastlane, etc. So Vince, do you?
All right, I love this song, man. This is the War Report, brought to you by TagMeADate.com, the first and only dating site exclusively for fans of pro wrestling. We're redesigning the website, and of course, there is a fucking pandemic, you monsters. So when it's safe to date again, it will be safe to put the website up again. Hello, Facebook user. I didn't see your name there, but welcome us. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. I'm not sure who that was as well, but I'll be reading off comments as they come. We are live streaming on Facebook. We're live streaming on YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, lots of places. So you can definitely check us out on the platform of choice. And we're going to get right into it here with some AEW. I don't know if you want to go all the way back to Wednesday on Dynamite, if you just want to go to Sunday for the Revolution pay-per-view, but both.
There are some things I would like to touch on Dynamite going into the show. And then we can talk about the pay-per-view, which unfortunately I have not yet seen, although I do know everything that's happened and I've seen bits and pieces. I have it waiting for me. I just haven't had a chance to get it. But before we get into
good pay-per-view, before we get into that, yeah, go ahead.
Well, yes. And we'll talk about the obvious things too. What I before we get into it, I just want to make this small announcement that tonight we are celebrating, believe it or not, the 5-year anniversary of our good friend Stu's death. So I just wanted to really start off, and for those of you that haven't been with us since the beginning, Stu was a part of the War Report crew, honorary member of Tag Me a Date. Man, that guy was from the beginning, and just a great human being, a great guy, a really good friend. Pissed on live radio, you know, just gave no fucks, but was the greatest, sweetest guy in the world. And it's been 5 years already. So I just want to, you know, this show is for him, as we do every year around this time. He was one of a kind, and he was taken way too soon. So I just wanted to get that in there and start the show that way. And I want to move right along because I want to talk first about Dynamite. We also have another comment just came in. Not happy, Facebook user, about the Christian thing. I know it's silly, but I feel like he betrayed WWE and Edge. Okay, so we're going to, Facebook user, hold on to that comment because I have some things to say
as
about
a press
that.
secretary would say, we'll wrap it right back to that.
We'll circle back to that one, of course. Yeah, but
we will definitely
got to talk about it.
We will definitely touch on it.
Thank you for saving that, Vince.
Yeah, I do want to kind of start off though with Dynamite leading into the pay-per-view, because this is something too that I feel like WWE just wouldn't do. First of all, that show was just like a pay-per-view.
Yeah,
with the things that went down, it was just like a pay-per-view. I want to go right into
name on it.
Well, right. And not only did they do that, but they opened the show with it, first of all.
Yep.
All right. It was the opening fucking like the show starts and I hear Cody's music and I'm like, seriously? So now I want to talk about that match because I want to know the opinion of Facebook. I want to know the opinion of you guys. I think Shaquille O'Neal looked pretty fucking solid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was very happy with his performance. I mean, listen, he did the basics, some body slams, some back body drops, some clotheslines, some punches, some knee thrusts, the things that you would expect a 7'1". He had a great looking power bomb.
Brody thing, and then he hit the power bomb. I mean,
he sold, and he sold well, especially when he went through 2 tables.
Yeah.
You tell me WWE's not putting a celebrity through tables, okay? WWE's not letting a celebrity have a match like that.
I have to disagree with you. Didn't Kevin Owens pop-up powerbomb someone through a table?
It was fucking Machine Gun Kelly who didn't sell at all.
Oh, no, I'm not saying it was a good sell job.
But what about Mark Cuban? Mark Cuban got bro kicked through a table by Sheamus.
Yeah.
All right, that's true, and it's Cuban.
But some of the guys
you're not seeing it. When was the last time we've seen this? Even if
when
we
Meatloaf got the RKO. I would do anything for
to me, it was a phenomenal spot. I think Shaq took it well. Cody, of course, took it well. But the match was done right, and I have to also say those 2 women.
Oh yes,
are fantastic. There were some moments where it was a little slow and kind of robotic, but listen, overall, they look fantastic, both of them in their own way. I was very, very pleased with that. The opening, it was just very well done. So I'll leave it to you guys.
There's a change in perception. Oh, that's why Bad Bunny's still 24/7 champion. You're right.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too.
He's not taking a bump too hard.
No, he's not. He hasn't taken any one bump yet. But anyway, there's a perception now, as I heard Lance Storm talk about it, and I heard some other guys talk about it on podcasts. Most wrestling shows now don't gain viewers over the 2 or 3 hours of the show. They tend to lose viewers. Even if it's just 50, 100,000 people, they're still losing them. So I equate it to this. One time I was listening to Bert Kreischer, the stand-up comedian, and he said when he was making his Netflix special, he decided that he was going to put, instead of making his closer, which is the last joke, his best joke, he decided that he was going to do his closing material at the beginning of the Netflix special, because he knew people were going to log into Netflix, watch the first 5 or 10 minutes, and if he didn't capture their attention, they're not going to watch a whole
very smart
one hour special. So in that respect, this is what wrestling, they're starting to do this. WWE did it, but they dragged it out with the Miz thing. They promised a match, he backed out, and then they started a countdown, and then every hour you got a countdown. Oh, this match is going to happen, this thing is going to happen, to try and maintain viewers. And it seemed like with a countdown, they actually did maintain viewers because people knew what was coming up. So similar theory, they put the best, not necessarily the best match, because I'll tell you what, that Lance Archer Ray Phoenix match is a main event anywhere in the fucking world and was phenomenal. But the Cody match, the spectacle of Shaq, the spectacle of this giant goddess Jade, who looks like she's carved out of jade, she's carved out of rock, man. And then Red Velvet, who's also just a talent, some diamond in the rough that they found and made into a television star. And before I let Ryan talk on this, I just want to say, like with Jade.
No, I'm good.
No, I know.
I didn't get to watch too much Dynamite.
with Jade and Red Velvet, the thing that I like about AEW that they do, and I hate to be this guy because somebody's going to comment, "Oh, AEW versus NXT," but hear me out here. With AEW, you're ready for TV at a lower bar, let's say, than on NXT, SmackDown, or Raw. There are talent who are what they call green. There are young talent. There's more inexperienced talent. There's talent who've wrestled for a long time on the indies, but aren't used to the television style, having to hit their camera angles, having to hit their times for certain things. And that will show, the inexperience will show now and again. But I like that. I like being able to say, this is the first time Jade and Red Velvet have a match. And Yes, it was a little wonky, but overall it was really good and they showed a lot of promise. And then as they both get better and this feud progresses, and then you look back in a year or two and they're in a women's championship match or a program on a pay-per-view, and you go, man, remember that match back then? That's them now. With the Performance Center style, it almost seems like those years are kept hidden until that person is TV ready. I'm like, I want to see the project. I want to see a guy like Fuego del Sol, who's a fucking nobody, who came out of Alabama with 6 kids or however, whatever he has. And, is he Ric Flair? No. But he's like a guy that you saw get squashed in 30 seconds. And now tonight, as I'm speaking, he's probably having his match. It's QT Marshall versus Fuego. And the implication seems to be that if he wins this match, he's going to get his AEW contract. And I like seeing that progression. That's one of the novelty things that you kind of don't get with the Performance Center, is because people get so polished and so ready. Then they go on to NXT. It's already like, oh, they're already like a TV wrestler. I like seeing the rough edges smooth out over the course of time.
Also, it's supposed to be a fight, so it shouldn't be completely polished.
It shouldn't be so smooth. And there's herky-jerky stuff in the fight. I mean, on Saturday, there was a UFC fight. Peter Yan did the Kamagoye, a.k.a. the BTE trigger, for real, and got disqualified and lost his light heavyweight championship. So the guy was on his knees, and he took his wrists and held him, and then he fucking kneed him in the face. And just hit him square in the forehead. So in case you don't know, if you do that in real life, you can cuss someone and almost kill him. And the guy, Aljo, hit the ground and then stood up. He's like, no, I'm fine. And then did the Ric Flair flop in real life. Like, he literally, he got knocked out, got up. He's like, I'm good. And then just face planted again. And they're like, the doctor came over. Like, they stopped the fight. It was crazy. So yeah.
All the adrenaline hit and then it was gone.
Oh, and he was on wobbly sea legs. But yeah, you're right. It's supposed to be a fight, and it's supposed to mimic a fight, and there's things that happen, and I don't know. We'll get to things that happen, because the biggest thing that happened was at the end of the pay-per-view. But we gotta start with Dynamite first. All right, Cat's coming in. Excellent.
Well, so I mean, they had that match, and then the next thing that's really all right. So then you have the I don't want to say it was the debate, but it was
I know.
It was with the MJF and Jericho, and it was like a press conference kind of thing where they were taking questions, and they had somebody from Barstool there, and they had Eric Bischoff and a few other guys.
Conrad was there.
It was a very funny segment. It was done well because MJF just gets better and better on the mic every single week. Yeah. The guy is so good on the mic. He's so good in his character. He really makes you hate him, and it's for all the right reasons. Like, he's just such a great heel. I'm such a big fan of him, and Jericho will always be Jericho. I mean, but it just very cool. So that was a great segment, and then you have the match with FTR. The tag match, and Tully gets back in the ring against the
Jurassic Express, but he ragdolled Marco. He did the old slingshot suplex. He was out there wrestling. Like,
dude, he did like most of his spots. Like, he did a great job. I mean, you could tell he was huffing and puffing.
Oh, he was.
But you know what? It was like, at first, like, he was in there maybe like 15 seconds. I already saw the heavy breathing, and I was like, he's telling himself to make sure to breathe, because that's the one thing you're told right away is don't forget to breathe. And he was doing it, and he did a great job. He looked, for his age, he looked great. And the match itself was very well done. And JJ Dillon coming out, and then at the end with Arn Anderson coming out, and they're holding up the 4, and you got Shawn Spears in there. I'm very excited, but now the question is, who's the 4th guy? Because obviously it's not going to be Tully.
So
I would like to see it to be Cody.
There are a couple theories. Cody is the heavy favorite.
Especially because of Arn Anderson, right? I mean, that's what you would think.
But here's the thing, Daddy. If you remember, the Rhodes family never got along with the 4 Horsemen. So he might join and then they might turn on him like the Horsemen always do and bring in somebody else.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
But then who would that somebody else be?
So
I have
Cody's
who I think it would be.
Cody's in the lead. I saw somebody on one of the rumor sites today, which I don't put a lot of salt in, but they said Nick Aldis, which is a possibility, NWA champion.
What do you think about? What do you think about? What's his face? He's fucking with the Dark Order now, but
Adam Page.
Adam Page. What if it was Adam Page?
They definitely teased that during that FTR Kenny Omega Adam Page feud.
I'm liking that a lot. I dig that.
That's who I was going with too.
And the dark horse here is somebody that they only introduced on Dark, and he hasn't had a single match yet, and that's Arn Anderson's son.
Ooh.
Arn Anderson's son. First of all, I think he's like 20. He's just like his dad. He's 26 and he looks 46. But he's a big old boy. He's basically, he looks like a young,
like his dad.
Same size. Same
I
build.
I would actually rather him than Cody then, because Cody doesn't need it. I would rather see somebody like, that would be perfect. The legacy of it all would be fantastic.
And I don't know how he wrestles. He's a student at the Nightmare Factory right now. So I don't know if they're quite ready for him yet, but I think the door's open. That's pretty easy to put an Anderson in the Horseman. No brainer. So those are the choices. I think Cody's still the most likely, but I don't know. It's interesting to speculate because,
well, you know what, too? You also got to think long term, right? So I'm also then thinking maybe they'll stay away from it being Cody, because I would imagine he's going to be taking some time off when the baby's born.
But that's why I'm saying maybe he joins and they kick him out real fast.
Oh, that's true.
That's the way to write him off.
Right. So
that would be a brilliant way to do it.
He joins the group. Everybody's buddy. Then finally, boom, they jump him. The whole Horseman beat him up, rip the suit off, do the Ricky Steamboat thing where he's bleeding and they're beating him up in his suit. And then
that's a cool idea.
And then
what if they do the cage turn like they did with Dusty?
War Games. They do it at the Blood and Guts War Games. They turn on him. They beat him up. Brock Anderson, Gage Anderson, whatever it is, his son comes out, throws up the four fingers, beats up on Cody, and boom, Cody's out so they can do the paternity leave thing, and you've got your other fourth horseman, Tony Khan.
As a wrestling fan, and as wrestling fans like us who have been fans for a very long time and been around to see a lot of the chills I get with just the thought and the idea that we're truly now going to get the rebirth of the Four Horsemen in some way, shape, or form. And the way it seems to be coming together, to me, has been very well done. And I'm very excited to see. Right. They're not rushing it. And it's a slow little build.
Something very interesting. And I don't know if it's true, and I don't have the resources to look it up. So I need somebody to help me out. Someone to help me out with this. I heard online that Arn Anderson owns the rights to the name The Four Horsemen. WWE doesn't own it.
How is that?
If that's true, if it's true, I don't know if it's true. I think Arn definitely owns the Four Fingers because that's the logo on his podcast, and I don't think WWE would let him do that. And I don't think they'd let Arn go out there and give the Four Fingers on Dynamite if he didn't own that. So maybe he just owns the trademark to the Four Finger thing, and they have to come up with a different name. But like I said, online, I heard somebody say that Arn Anderson has the copyright of the trademark or whatever.
Well, didn't the Four Horsemen begin in Crockett Productions and Mid-South before WCW, WWE? So they might actually have it because of that.
That's what I'm thinking. The only thing I could think of is that back when Arn was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame and he had a job with WWE, maybe in exchange for the Legends contract and all that, they said, okay, can you sign over the rights to this Four Horsemen because we want to make merch and do all this shit.
But that might have to belong to, Tully, JJ Dillon. They may all have an investment in it also as well.
I don't know. But if that's the case, it's wonderful because
either way, it sounds like they're going to be able to use it, which is great.
They're at least going to be able to use the 4 fingers, which is important.
One of the worst things, and I'm not trying to compare, but one of the worst things ever was when the Dudley Boys finally left WWF at the time, and then they show up, and now they can't be the Dudley Boys. You know what I mean?
3D
So,
or whatever it was.
Yeah, the Team 3D.
Yeah.
Right. So then they had to be Team 3D, which whatever, like Team 3D worked. All right, cool, because the finisher was the 3D, whatever. But forever, from ECW early days till they made it huge in WWF, they were the Dudleys, the Dudley Boys. So that, kind of, but in that kind of respect, it's like, it's not going to ruin it, but it's going to ruin it a little because you want it to be the 4 Horsemen.
Well, he couldn't. They legally can't even say Devon get the tables. That's why Bubba Ray started doing the 3, 2, 1 countdown, because they don't own that anymore. Because WWE bought out ECW, they own it.
WWE is very smart.
Okay,
they really
but
are.
Arn Anderson legally registered under his real name, Marty
Lundy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I was waiting to interject that. I had it pulled up.
Registered under his real legal name.
Woo!
Well, so there you go. They can use it, which is fucking awesome.
I beat Ryan.
That's
But
amazing.
what about the deal they made about a year ago with the name so Cody could use Rhodes again?
He gave up a couple pay-per-views.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, like, I think he gave up Bash at the Beach.
Yeah.
And something else. I don't think. Yeah, Arn didn't. And I mean, listen, maybe if
he just filed that in 2020 too.
Yeah.
September 27th of 2020, he legally filed it.
Yeah, there's this trademark attorney, copyright and trademark law guy that Conrad Thompson hooked everybody up with. Cody, Marty Lundy, aka Arn, and a few others. Flair, I think. A lot of them have used this guy to secure either their own names or like previous names and things like that. Now that they're no longer affiliated with WWE, so good idea to have like that guy on board and doing all that. So they can use the Horsemen.
That's fantastic. That's great.
Smart dude, man. That's someone that's been around this business long enough to know.
Hey guys, keep talking. I'll be right back.
Yeah, you can't out Carney a Carney. He knows what he's talking about. Continuing on Dynamite, we had a tag match with one of the Private Party and Big Money Matt Hardy against Allen, 5 Angels, and Hangman. That continued their feud. The Hardy Page feud, which then culminated at Revolution. So that was nothing was bad on that Dynamite.
No.
What really stuck out was there was a women's tournament final with Nyla Rose and Ryo Mizunami, Aniki. So it was a phenomenal match. Nyla's improved so much over like the last 2 years.
Definitely.
And the right woman won. And then the match that woman, Ryo had with Shida at Revolution was fantastic. No complaints. Their women's division, I know, was a weak spot for them. And now they've got Dr. Britt Baker. They've got Maki Ito coming in. They got Ryo Mizunami. They've got Shida as their champ. They have Yuka Sakazaki coming back sometime soon. Emi Sakura is going to come back. I'm sure Mei Saruga is going to come with them. All the Gato Move and Choco Pro Joshi girls. And they got Swole, who is currently... thoughts go out to Swole. She hasn't been able to wrestle because she's currently suffering. She has and is currently suffering an inflammation of her Crohn's disease.
Oh, geez.
Which has prevented her from wrestling for the last few months since her Falls Count Anywhere dentist office match with Britt Baker. That was funny as hell. She hit the
even just the name of the match sounds funny.
Yeah, it was just and she took Britt Baker's diploma off the wall and smashed her over the head with it. Like, everything you would expect from a dentist match. There was a drill, there was Novocaine, was the whole deal. So yeah, thoughts out to her. She cut a good promo on Dark. Ray Phoenix and Lance Archer had a phenomenal main event. And it was, as far as I'm concerned, it was 5 stars. Ray Phoenix is amazing. got my Lucha Bros shirt on, and Dynamite closed out with a big brawl to continue the tag team battle royale feud, and they ended with their traditional. If you're in a battle royale, you've got to just have everybody out there and schmoz and throw people over the top rope thing, and that happened, and I loved that. I never, shy away from that. The best part of it was right at the end when all the chaos is happening, the Dark Order comes out, but the Kid is with him. -1 comes out and he's like, guys, you got come on, let's go. And he's out there directing traffic. He's taking bumps on the stage when he doesn't need to take bumps. He's talking shit to Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy ran away and he's talking shit to him. Like, I love this kid. I love that he's on TV.
Makes me smile like no other when I see him. He is something else. That kid has got the bug.
Who's this?
-1.
-1.
He was on AEW Dark last week doing kip-ups in the background.
He's on Dark every week now.
Pretty much, yeah.
Every week. He always comes out with number 10 or Vance, and he's on commentary. That kid is going to be gold. I mean,
according to AEW television, -1 is the leader of the Dark Order now. That's just the way it is.
Didn't I say that? The best person to be able to do it, and we were like, well, he's too young, so there's no way. But right away I said he should be the leader, and look what they're doing. He's the unofficial leader.
It's great. It's great.
Fantastic.
I mean, he's wilding. He comes out there sometimes he has barely, like, he's just got pants on, no shoes, no shirt, just running around like
I forget who it was, but I saw him beat somebody up with a kendo stick.
Oh, he's a maniac with that kendo stick. He was him whacking everybody.
Credit to the talent to let him run wild with that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he's 8. How hard could he hit? But still.
It's
really?
Still, I'm sure he can feel
I
it.
don't know. I don't have 8-year-old
a couple of 8-year-old kids can hit irregardless. I'm sure Steve can too. That just because they're little don't mean they ain't packing a punch.
Yeah, that's a true story.
Fair enough.
So I think we should now dive into the Revolution pay-per-view. Again, as I said, unfortunately, I have not had a chance to see it yet, although I kind of know everything that's happened. And of course, I know and have seen many videos and angles of this botch, quote unquote. We'll get into it.
We'll get it.
So where do you guys want to start? Overall, if we're just overall throwing out everything that I've seen, everything that I've read, without even seeing it, I could probably say it's a 9 out of 10.
The show is fantastic, except for that one mess up, and it's
unfortunately that's your go home though.
I know that's
but
you know what? It's
that was your build-up.
There's always going to be mess ups in some way, shape, or form. So take it as it was a major fuck up and move on because the product itself is fantastic.
Hold on. Listen, hold on. We're obviously gonna just dive right into the main event. So,
all right.
Here's my now, and I don't know. I've seen what I've seen online.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm hearing a lot of things. I'm hearing that Moxley's, because I heard his promo after when it went off, was legit. And then I hear Omega was fuming. But then I also hear that this is all part of the story. That this was all somehow, it was planned to actually be the way it was, or if that's now what it is, because now they're going to have to try and clean this up.
That was story. If that was story, then their reactions, then they deserve Oscars.
Yeah, if they were supposed to sell like it was death and it wasn't, like, because that's the thing. Eddie Kingston, okay, they had he
was incredible.
They had a fantastic, nearly 30-minute wrestling match. It's very hard to do a death match and incorporate all that violence and shit into it. John Moxley and Kenny Omega know how to do it in a way that's organic and isn't kind of hammy and over the top. The explosions when they hit the ropes during the match were fine. The first one was kind of a dud, so I was worried, but then every subsequent hit on the ropes was fine. The Death Rider DDT onto the barbed wire board from the outside was insane, but the explosion was a little weak, which took away from it. And then, of course, the final explosion after the match, after the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega beat up John Moxley, and the timer counts all the way down. Eddie Kingston covers him like he's taking a grenade for him, and
You have Gilbert's
And then
entrance.
Gilbert's like,
I was gonna say it reminded me of Gilbert's entrance.
the wettest of wet farts of pyro you could have. And I rewatched it today to get a better perspective on it. What looks like happened is they had a bunch of smoke bombs that were going to go off or did go off, and there was a big old gust of wind that just immediately blew all the smoke away. So the effect that they wanted did not happen. There's been a lot of joking online that Cody's entrance has more pyro than the ring explosion did. And
It did.
that's pretty true.
It's fact.
I thought maybe in addition to having pyro go off around the ring, they would also have it go on the stage too to kind of make it. Because let's
More
be honest
impactful.
here, there's a certain amount of things that you can and can't do in an amphitheater with pyrotechnics. It is an outdoor arena, but because it's an amphitheater, it does have a roof. There are 1,300 people in attendance. There are two guys right in the middle of it. There's all kinds of safety protocols you have to go through, aka you really can't just like in Japan, I don't think they give a shit. They just went out into a field and blew the fucking ring up for real.
Yeah,
Here
right.
they've got like regulations and OSHA and shit like that you have to go through.
I will say this. So, according to the Wrestling Observer,
Yes.
AEW tested the explosion ahead of time and it worked just fine. It just so happens that the explosive that was used during the pay-per-view just happened to be a dud. And it's going on record. They're saying Kenny Omega was apparently furious backstage about how it came off. Because, at the end of the day, this whole pay-per-view was geared to
explosion. It really did.
Right. And like, oh my God, is this really going to happen? And then to get what you got was obviously, and that's your, like Brian said, that's your take home. Like that's how the show's ending. And not for nothing, people paid $50 to see, even if it was a great pay-per-view, they paid that money to see that
explosion. Yep.
So, but listen, they're both sick motherfuckers because,
a little bit.
I mean, it's just, at the end of the day, yeah, it was a dud, but at the end of the day, that match, from what I've seen, and I've seen bits and pieces, and that goes, to the whole card. Was there anything that you guys specifically want to tackle when it comes to that now that we got the main event out of the way?
I just want to interject on that just a little bit if I can.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Do you?
Do me, God almighty.
That's what she said.
We're still paying
now
$50, $60 for wrestling pay-per-views to see AEW. All good. I understand this was a botch. It was a dud. It was a screw up. It happens. If you go back through all the years of all the wrestling pay-per-views we've watched over the years, there's always something that's screwed up or something that happened. And I really hate for this whole pay-per-view to be judged by that 10-second spot, because that show was dynamic. I think I even said I gave it an 8.59 and I took off literally for the Gilbert moment.
Right.
Amen.
Big fucking deal to me compared to what that entire pay-per-view did. I can't name the last time I gave a WWE pay-per-view an 8.59 whatever.
Yeah, there was no I can't say there was a bad match in the bunch. The pre-show, you had Dr. Britt Baker announce her surprise tag team partner. Reba faked an injury. So
not only that, but just on that, not only did Baker make that announcement that she had a doctor's note, the doctor's note was written by Britt Baker herself, saying that she was not medically cleared and that they had to have a new partner.
She went on the pre-show and said that Tony Khan wouldn't accept it, so she went to the Jaguars team doctor and got that guy to sign off on it somehow. And then announced that in place of Rebel, we have Maki Ito making her U.S. debut and sang her song, Brooklyn the Hole, which is the actual name of the song. I don't know the words because it's goddamn Japanese. They defeated Riho and Thunder Rosa to continue the feud of Thunder Rosa versus Dr. Britt Baker, which, in my estimation, will eventually end in a pay-per-view match, perhaps at Double or Nothing. It's a great feud. Thunder Rosa is great. Dr. Britt Baker really stepped it up. She has to be training with Adam Cole in the off time because she's just improved so much over the last 2 years, even with a knee surgery in the middle of it too. She's done great to get up there. And of course, Riho, Maki, and Thunder Rosa are all phenomenal as well. Very good match. That was 15 minutes long. They didn't skimp on the pre-show match. And then they kicked the pay-per-view off with Young Bucks versus Jericho and MJF, with the Young Bucks picking up the win after a BTE trigger on Chris Jericho. And later in the show, there was a promo from Chris and MJF saying that they have to have a war council with the Inner Circle. And it seems like MJF might be initiating his Order 66 to remove Chris Jericho from the Inner Circle and take over, or at least try.
Usurp him.
Right, he's
So
trying.
this will, in essence, this will turn Jericho face, and then it'll start a Jericho MJF feud.
Right, or it could turn, depending on how they do it, MJF could take over the whole Inner Circle, and then that's his heel group, or the Inner Circle turns babyface and kicks MJF out, and then he's feuding with a babyface Inner Circle. Either way, at least Chris Jericho is going to come babyface out of this. So that's the story they're telling. It wasn't a bad match by any means. To me, the finish was kind of predictable because you're not going to put your tag team titles on Chris Jericho and MJF, at least at this juncture. Because realistically, if you're going to put a title on somebody in the Inner Circle, the tag titles especially, it's Proud and Powerful. It's LAX.
Right. Agreed.
I think those guys should be next in line. Eventually, at maybe the next pay-per-view, whatever it is, I really feel like they should be next in line. Ray Phoenix won the Casino Tag Team Battle Royale. Speaking of next in line, him and Pac, which is crazy.
So sick.
First of all, that was a great Casino Battle Royale, and it was a fun little, 15-team, 30-person over-the-top rumble. Everybody came out looking good from it. Jungle Boy looks like a goddamn superstar. Luchasaurus is kicking people's heads off. Ray Phoenix and Pac are just phenomenal, unbelievable, next-level talents. And to have Ray Phoenix and Pac, who can do what they can do, with the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, doing what they can do in a tag team title match is going to be far and away. I mean, that's going to be. I don't want to put too many hopes and dreams on it, but I'm really looking forward to that match.
Shouldn't
It
disappoint.
definitely could steal the show for sure.
That's a definite show stealer. Speaking of show stealer, Hikaru Shida retains her AEW Women's Championship against Anaki Ryo Mizunami, and I loved this match.
What a freaking match!
Unbelievable.
That may be one of my favorites.
What was so
rooting for
special
Ryo.
about that match?
It was just so
Start to finish, it was classic.
It just start to finish. It had the pace. It started off slow. It was your championship pace. It started off slow and it built, and it just got fucking crazy. And it was very hard hitting, traditional Japanese Joshi style of wrestling.
They put everything on the line in that match, and it paid off.
They beat the brakes off of each other. It was unbelievable. And I was rooting for Ryo Mizunami. I thought maybe they would do a surprise. This is a way to put somebody over. They win a tournament and then win the title all in one swoop. But Hikaru Shida retains.
5 minutes into that match, I didn't give a shit who was winning. It was just one hell of a match. And that's the sign of a good match. You don't care who's winning.
Yeah, I would have been happy with either result. It went back and forth. But they both had near falls. It was very good. So if you're not going to watch the whole pay-per-view, definitely watch the women's.
It was textbook on how a woman's match should be. It really was.
For sure. And then a quick hitter here, only 8 minutes long. You had Miro and Kip with Penelope Ford beating the Best Friends. They jumped the Best Friends, Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor, because Trent is out with a bicep or tricep injury, pec injury, something like that. And so Miro and Kip jump the Best Friends. They're all beaten up and bloody. Chuck's bleeding from his nose, and they still want to fight. Chuck says, "Ring the damn bell," and they have their really quick match. I mean, Orange Cassidy came out and did the Spirit of 76 comeback and looked like he was going to pick up the win. Bumped Kip. Penelope tried to interfere. Miro knocked Penelope off the ropes into Kip and Orange Cassidy so that he could put the game over, aka the Machka lock, the accolade, whatever you want to call it, on Chuck Taylor. He cranks back, gets the tap out, and not only are Kip and Miro victorious, but Kip and Penelope have an issue with Miro because Miro was willing to sacrifice Penelope's safety by pushing her off the apron in order to secure the win. So now does this start a program? Instead of them being a team, do they split up and then Kip and Penelope are baby faces and Miro is a heel?
That's exactly the way it looks like it's headed, and I think that can actually work out really well.
Yeah, because I think Kip is going to get over as a heel. He's a good-looking guy. Penelope's gorgeous. Hot couple.
They're great together.
Yeah, and then Miro,
and she's not terrible in the ring either.
No, she's very good, but she's apparently I was just reading this earlier this week. She is going for her college degree, so she asked to be a manager for now until she finishes her college degree. So then,
that's interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
so that was it's her choice to not be featured in singles matches and tag matches in the women's division, but she will be again.
Gotta give her a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, I don't know if she's gonna when the summer hits. I don't know if she's gonna wrestle for the summer, then go back to managing until she graduates. I don't know how far along she is, but I just know she's taking college courses and is focusing on that rather than wrestling. Good choice. Get your degree. You can
get your backup.
Right. You always got to have something as a backup. Good segment there. Then we got another really good match. Hangman Adam Page defeating Big Money Matt Hardy in the Big Money match. So Adam Page has won Big Money Matt Hardy's first quarter earnings, which includes 30% of Private Party's earnings. So really, he's taking in a lot of money. He bought his new ride-on lawnmower. He's all set for life now. Hangman Adam Page. And the big takeaway, not only did Matt Hardy pull out a good match after people were concerned about his health and the shape that he was in after the Sammy Guevara match where he fucked himself up. And
what are we doing with Sammy?
Sammy announced that he's wrestling in Egypt. So I feel like they're doing the CM Punk thing, but they're actually doing it where he quit. He quit. You know what I mean? The storyline
he quit, but he didn't show up the following week.
Exactly. He didn't just quit. He hasn't shown up. He didn't show up to Impact. I think that whole thing about turning down the storyline with Impact is part of the storyline.
Yeah.
I think that's to show, to play into this perception that Sammy Guevara is a problem. So he quits, then he's uncooperative. Impact sends him home and he's like, fuck this, I'm going to go wrestle an independent match in Egypt for some indie fed out, the Pyramids Wrestling Federation or whatever the fuck it is. And he's their CM Punk for right now, only he doesn't have a title. He's just walking the earth like Kane from Kung Fu, so to speak.
Listen, I don't think it's a terrible thing. I think he comes back out of nowhere. The place is going to erupt. He's going to be a face, which will be a little different. And I think it's going to work out really well for him because he's talented as hell. If he just got to keep his mouth shut. But
for sure. Hangman Adam Page, the big spot at the end was that Private Party came out to interfere on behalf of Big Money Matt Hardy, and the Dark Order came out to defend Hangman's honor. They beat up Private Party and then saved Adam Page when he was getting knocked off the apron. They caught him like a mosh pit and pushed him back up. And then he hit the springboard. What does he call it? Not the dead eye, because that's the other one. The last call. No, whatever his fucking clothesline is. The rebound. Yeah. So anyway, he's able to do it because the Dark Order pushed him from the mosh pit, and he does his finish, and he hits him buckshot with the buckshot and pins him. And then the Dark Order come in, and he actually, instead of turning him down, he gives him a hug. Colt Cabana brings out beers. Everybody's celebrating. And it seems like BTE later, on Monday morning came out, and Adam Page was wearing a very sharp Western style shirt that was purple and black. So it seems like Adam Page is cool and friends with the Dark Order. Whether or not he's going to take any sort of membership or ownership over the Dark Order, don't know. But he's at least friends with them. So there's that. He is not only rich in money, but rich in friendship. Beautiful.
It's the friends you make along the way.
Exactly. The real championship was the friends we made along the way.
All right. So
Yes, sir.
We also had the debut of Christian Cage. And there's been a very big mixed reaction on social media that what a letdown that they made such a big deal and all this hype. And listen, I think at the end of the day, Christian's a big deal.
Yes.
Christian, I think this is going to be another rebirth like it was an Impact. When he came to Impact, he was the guy. He was champion. He ran that place. He's going to do well in AEW. He's going to show WWE that they should have grabbed him when they could. And apparently, he's not on bad terms. I actually thought now that Edge is back full time, the Royal Rumble, maybe we could get a little Edge and Christian back together, which would have been great. But at the end of the day, he bonded with Tony Khan. What Tony Khan fed him, he bought into, and he's giving it a shot. And I give him all the credit in the world. I thought it was great. Was it a little disappointing that it wasn't Kurt Angle because that was teased?
Kurt was in such bad shape last time. I want to know that he's okay before seeing him try and wrestle again.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider that so much a letdown because we saw what Christian just did, and
Christian's
Christian
in great shape.
Was in really good shape compared to what Kurt Angle's been looking like.
He was just in the Rumble. WWE public relations Twitter account tweeted out that the Usos wanted to wrestle Edge and Christian. Xavier Woods tweeted out that he wanted to do him and Kofi wanted to do a TLC match with Edge and Christian. Not that I'd want two 50-year-old men in a goddamn TLC match. No, thank you.
But you could do a cinematic TLC match and not.
Yeah. Speaking of, and I don't know if we'll
kill either Edge or Christian.
You can put wheelchairs on top of the ladders, push
a wheel TLC
AARP
match
card. You just, instead of titles, you're getting your AARP card.
Now.
The cinematic match with Sting and Darby Allin against Team Taz, Ricky Starks and Brian Cage, was off the fucking charts for a cinematic match. Darby Allin apparently has a degree in cinema and film. I had no
better
idea.
Than AJ Taker.
Big time. I hated AJ Taker.
Here's the thing. I don't want to say that because it's AJ Styles and The Undertaker. And those two guys are bigger superstars than most everybody in the match except for Sting. Yeah. The way that Darby Allin constructed this match and shot it, and it was like you were watching a movie with the live commentary from Tony and the gang.
It's been no secret that I did not care for the Boneyard match. I think we all remember me from last year.
Yes, we all remember.
Oh, yeah.
This was fantastic. I watched it twice already because I thought from start to finish, this was brilliantly done.
Absolutely. So we wanted to, I wanted to mention that.
And that's high praise coming from me.
Yeah, before we
listen, it definitely makes me look forward to it.
So, yeah, man, you watch it and get back to us next week and let us know in the chat when you're watching it too.
Yeah, that too.
What was I talking about right before talking about?
We were talking about Christian.
You said AARP.
Yes, AARP. So there was plans for so Christian. It was very strange that he did this appearance at the Rumble, and then that was it. There was that time earlier, like 6 months ago, 8 months ago, whatever it was, maybe even longer at this point, that Christian, WWE wanted to use Christian as a character, but didn't believe that he was medically cleared, or at least had not medically cleared him yet. And that was when they did the phantom kick to the head where the lights went off, and then all of a sudden he was laying on the ground. Oh, my neck. That was ridiculous. But anyway, they didn't think he was medically cleared. All of a sudden, he gets medically cleared. He's in the Royal Rumble. So, and I know he's doing the thing with the Fiend right now, Randy Orton, but you would think that they could follow up to that Randy Orton kicked me in the head thing. You could follow up on the one more match thing. You could follow up on all of this stuff. You could have him, not that, and again, maybe the plan was, hey, you're going to be second fiddle to Edge throughout WrestleMania season, and then maybe we'll get you a SummerSlam match with somebody. And he didn't like the plans that WWE laid out for him. Maybe he wanted more.
Christian even said that he didn't get a phone call until Sunday morning, even knowing that he was even going to be in the Rumble.
Oh, that's fucked up.
They didn't tell him until the day of the Rumble, and he was, I forgot who he was replacing, but they pulled somebody out and threw him in at the last minute. Even
so weird.
Edge even said that look on his face when he saw him coming out was legit because
that's great.
Christian didn't tell him.
Oh,
that
that's
he was in it.
fantastic. Oh, that's
You know,
I
but
love
the buzz around it too afterwards, like, should have been enough to tell WWE, all right, we better jump on this and bring him back because there's some cool shit. I mean, the only way I would have been happy with Christian staying is if they did do another run with Edge and Christian together.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, that's really the only thing I really would have wanted to see. I don't need the whole one more match. I don't need all that. But listen, I think AEW is going to be a great move. I think he's going to do very well, and I'm very excited to see what they do. And they brought back the TNA music, which really was great.
Yeah, so like Mikey Ruckus, their music guy, actually did a modernized version of it. It's very, very similar, but I guess updated the music samples, made it a higher quality. So now that TNA theme has been modernized, very, very, very closely replicated by Mikey Ruckus, who does a great job with their music. All the great promo videos that they played throughout the pay-per-view, he did the music for it. There's the Revolution song at the beginning. He does it's great stuff. He does great work. And Christian, this is what I think might happen. Because AEW seems to have a lot of respect for their legends and uses them in the right places. They're not humiliating their legends. If somebody bumps a legend, there's a reason for it.
Correct.
Like a big deal, all that. So what I'm saying is, I don't think Christian, like many people are probably assuming this, Christian is not just going to jump to the front of the line and be a world title contender and all of that. I don't think that's happening.
No.
He might challenge for the world title sometime down the line, maybe. But here's what I think. Paul White, formerly the Big Show, now his t-shirt says no BS, no Big Show. Anyway, he was the one that announced that Christian was signing. Paul White is the new commentator for AEW's new show called AEW Dark Elevation, which is a show to showcase
but they're not ruling out that he won't wrestle at points.
Right. Paul White's not ruling out that he won't wrestle, which he probably will. I feel like the way that Shaq disappeared after that tag match, because they got him in the ambulance and then they cut away and then they cut back and he was gone. I think what happened is he Kazammed himself like the genie. Hey, I'm a genie. He Kazammed himself out of the ambulance. And that's going to be another match that WWE didn't capitalize on. Big Show and Shaq. That's going to happen. But also, I think that Christian is going to be like, if there's an AEW Dark Ascension Championship, or like he's the gatekeeper of that show, where the talent that starts off as jobbers, as they gain experience, whoever moves up in the rankings, like the final boss is Christian, and they either put on a good match and lose to him, which they would be expected to do, or it's a big upset and then they get put over a legend and then they elevate from that to another show. Yeah. I feel like Christian is going to be used in that kind of role. He's not just going to be world champion, beating everybody, beating up all these guys. I think he's going to be, he knows how old he is. He knows his limitations, but he also knows what he can excel at. So I feel like there's a lot of good in Christian coming to AEW, not just.
And his experience can fill in where he's slower.
Yeah. And they're teaching all these promo lessons and ring psychology lessons and all this other shit, before tapings and in between tapings. And they're learning from Arn and they're learning from Tully. Christian's another great resource to have there as a player coach and, getting these young kids ready. He's had so much experience on TV for so many years that there's really nobody else better to learn from that's still able to wrestle, unless like fucking Lance Storm decided to reopen his school. Like if he reopens his school, Lance is the best trainer in the world. But Christian is right the fuck up there for sure. Wow, we talked a lot about AEW tonight. Holy shit.
Well, listen, I mean, a lot took place.
A lot to discuss.
Yeah.
Not to talk about with WWE, so
I fell asleep last night on the couch and didn't watch any Raw, and then
I got to 10:30.
I'm kind of glad I fell asleep. It seemed
I turned it on at 10:30 because I wanted to see what was going to happen with the Randy Orton AJ Styles. Like I said,
I watched all of Raw. I enjoyed Raw. I thought it was actually a decent show. They continued the Alexa Bliss Orton deal, which I thought was great. The Orton AJ match for the most part was great. The Braun Strowman Shane McMahon deal was kind of weird. I definitely wanted to touch on that. Like, what the fuck? I demand an apology, and then Shane comes out, gets right in his face, and goes, "I apologize," but then makes fun of him again. And I mean, just fucking tell us we're having the match already. Like,
this is the Big Show thing all over again. This is the exact same formula.
It really is.
Because he did the Braun Strowman, like he did the retard voice. Like, what is he doing?
I don't know. I thought that was kind of odd. Riddle had another great segment. R-Truth had another great segment.
That apology to Braun was great.
Oh yeah, R-Truth segment was fantastic. But what is Keith Lee injured? What's the deal here?
I don't know the answer. Anyone?
Because he's not on my TV, and
he needs to be.
But I guess we'll see. Maybe they keeping him off during WrestleMania season. They don't have anything planned for him, and then bring him back night after Mania to challenge Riddle or to
deserves to
be.
be.
He should be. I mean,
he deserves to be a part of WrestleMania.
Well, yes, he absolutely does. But there's 3 weeks to WrestleMania, whatever.
Well, and it's a week till Fastlane, right?
Yeah,
week from Sunday.
That
maybe he attacked somebody.
Hey, maybe. Kat sent us a link.
His latest message is, "I miss you guys too. Just let you know that." Basically, he has not been marked as injured, and he has no storyline whatsoever.
So they have absolutely nothing for him, which I don't understand how somebody like that, you can't figure out what to do with him. It's mind blowing to me.
Just says, "I miss you guys too. Just know that." That was his tweet yesterday at 7:55, just before the kickoff of Raw.
Do you know?
He basically was probably told to stay home yet again.
Yeah, I hate to say this because it makes me sound like a big AEW mark, but it would be so nice if one day during Dynamite there's an open challenge for the TNT title, and the first thing you hear is "Bask in his glory."
Yeah.
I would shit myself, but I think he's probably signed a longer term deal than we assume with
But it's still, it was like Mia Yim had the COVID. She's back on TV now, and she, not that Retribution sucks in itself to begin with, but she's doing absolutely nothing on TV except coming to ringside. She's being like a shitty valet, and she's so much more than that. So I don't understand why they're wasting.
Why would you not use one of the best, most over talents? Unless they go, "Oh wait, we can't have more than one big black guy in the main event at the same time."
Oh jeez.
Just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if they're doing the quota thing. Like, I don't know why. Why is this guy not on my TV?
So, okay, so let's see. Bad Bunny, Damian Priest. We got the Boricuas covered.
Yes, you got the Latinos covered. The Hurt Business covers the African Americans. You got the Mexicans on there. You got the Japanese men and women. I don't know.
You can get the Ninja Squad back in there if we need some more Japanese.
We're appeasing everybody.
We got Drew and Sheamus covering, the Irish.
We have Drew Gulak representing the Jews. So we got a little bit of everything in there.
Sorry, guys.
Except for Keith Lee. Where the fuck is this guy? He's 6.5 feet tall and he's 300 pounds and he can do backflips.
But wait, we got Umas still too.
Oh yeah, teach him to do backflips.
Yeah. And then we have the freaking Nigerian now.
Listen, Reggie, I don't care that he's with Team Butterface over there.
That was hilarious last night. That I will give it.
I'm glad it's not just Carmella fired him and then Sasha turned him down. And then he's just off TV and he's back to the Performance Center. He needs to stick around. He's a good character. He's got a good look.
They're using the story they were going to use with Enzo now with Reginald.
Yes.
Well, now Reginald's with Nia Jax.
Yeah, that's like the Enzo story.
We'll see. This is going to be very interesting.
What Enzo with? So
I so want him to just look up to the camera and go, "I like a big woman."
Yeah.
So once again, Carmella, Enzo, Nia, mix. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, it's just such a what. Oh, they finally remembered that those two broads were the number one contenders for the tag team titles.
I know.
It's like, oh wait, that was like 4-6 weeks ago. But whatever.
And the only good thing about that match for them was their outfits.
Yeah. I literally fell asleep on the couch at 6:30 at night and woke up from at 1:30 in the morning and then just moved to my bed to continue sleeping. So
that is a great sleep.
So listen,
I haven't had that in 12 years.
I'm very refreshed. Yes,
we have reached the top of the hour. I just want to say one thing as we wrap, and we'll have to touch more about this next week. But get ready, because Peyton Royce, I have a very strong feeling is about to get a massive push. She did cut a promo on Raw Talk or whatever it is that was. It gave you a feel of how real it really is. She gave one of those real promos. It's the talk of social media right now, so you can find the clip. It's a minute or two long, but she cuts one of the best promos I think I've ever heard come out of her mouth. And I think she's about to get a little bit of a pushki. So let's see what happens. But we'll talk more into that next week. But it'll give you guys time. Find the video. You'll see it. It's all over the place.
Yep. And then, guys, really quick before we do the exit, I did want to tell you, Bob did send his regards to everybody. Thank you guys for the message last week. I played it for him the other night, and he goes, I miss my boys. I will be back.
All right.
He goes, I have a lot of wrestling that I need to learn still. So he says we are his educators, which scares the shit out of me even more.
We'll
but he did say he will be back and said thank you for the love. So
good. Glad he's getting better.
I know it's a process, and every day is going to be a little bit better. So we're still rooting for you, Bob. We're out here supporting you, buddy. So thank you for giving us an update. Continue to update us on how Bob's doing, and hopefully he'll be back commenting, or hopefully we can get him back on maybe we can actually get him on the show one of these days.
Yeah, guest spot
in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, they're hopefully going to let him out of his cage. So
great. All right. Well, good. Keep us updated.
Instead of letting him in, let him out.
All right.
We got to let him free. Well, it's the top of the hour. We do have to get going. You guys don't know this, but every time we're over 8 o'clock at night, Steve gets yelled at by his wife because he's late for dinner. So we're going to wrap this up as quickly as possible. Thank you so much for watching another edition of the War Report. If you'd like to follow us on social media, look for Tag Me a Date. That's Tag Me a Date, no spaces. It's all one word. If you want to subscribe to our YouTube, go to youtube.com, type in Tag Me a Date in your search bar. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to get alerts when we go live or when we upload a new video. We go live every Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. on Eastern Time. And we're live on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitch, twitch.tv/War Report. I believe we need to get to 1,000 friends or whatever it is on Twitch to get partner status. So long process there.
Let's get rolling.
Yeah, I know, right? But if you prefer, instead of the video, as I just gave you those examples, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, if you want the audio-only version, we are on Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play Podcasts. You can subscribe on pretty much your podcast app of choice. Just search for the War Report or search for Tag Me a Date. Usually goes up, Ryan? Sometime tonight?
Sometime tonight, as soon as I can
as soon as you
get it downloaded and uploaded.
The video, so it'll go right up on the podcast thing, and you can listen to it while you're working out or cleaning your house or whatever else you're doing. And one more cheap plug, my social media is way back here at OSnapVince. I just put out a new song today called Get Out of Town. It's just a little something I came up with and recorded in one take on my acoustic guitar. I like it. It's a cool little throwback to the 90s. So go to my social media, and it's uploaded there on both Facebook and Instagram. And we'll see you again next week, guys, for another edition of the War Report brought to you by TagMeADate.com. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back Tuesday, 7 p.m. on Eastern Time. Thanks.